I have, of course, here ESL's very own Jason Kaplan, and alongside him, Krepo Voorspoels, who's going to fill the EG void for us here this weekend. Krepo, how have you been after Worlds, after your great performance there on the analyst desk?
Yeah, I really enjoyed World Finals analyst desk, and after that, I just took a little break, went home to see my family, and recently moved back to Germany, and I've been streaming a lot and just waiting for the new patch to hit, and then just play a lot of video games. So pretty cool.
You were as a player here last IEM Cologne.
Yeah, because that didn't go so well, I tried to get a different angle this time and see if I could do some casting or analysis, and hopefully that goes a little better than our performance last year, because it was pretty abysmal.
We're very happy to have you here, and also very happy to have you, of course, Jason. What are you most looking forward to in this tournament?
I have to say, all these new rosters, it's a completely new beginning for so many different teams. Some of them, like you said before, have completely new rosters. Some of them, just a couple of changes here and there. But I want to see, how could these teams perform? Because this is the beginning. You know, it's not necessarily LCS Season 4 currently, but this is like the leeway into that.
Absolutely, and we can see that minor changes can make major impacts on rosters. And of course, we're going to start off with talking about NIP versus TCM, as that is the first match of the day a little bit later. But the pro games are also coming up later in the day. So let's take a look at the pro bracket for this weekend, for the tournament here today. We're going to start off this afternoon, of course, with Gambit Gaming as they take on the Red, and then CLG is going to go up against Team Quality Blue. And in the rest of the bracket, we of course have C9 coming tomorrow as well, and Fnatic. Krepo, how do you think these teams will do all with their respective changes or not?
I just think it's a really interesting bracket, has a bit of everything you want. You have some new teams coming in there, Quality Red, not many people know them all too well. You have some American teams coming over, and the new revamped CLG, and at the same time you have the European powerhouses with Gambit returning to Edward and Fnatic returning to Reckles. There's too many storylines to follow, and it's just going to be really exciting.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you maybe about CLG in particular, because you've known that team in their old lineup so well, and the only person that's left is Doublelift. How will that turn out?
Yeah, it's really hard to get rid of Doublelift, it seems, but yeah, I'm really interested to see what changes, how they're going to perform with the changes. Rather, CLG has changed their roster quite a bit every time, but they seem to have the right motivation for it, and let's see if it turns out now. Aframu is back. I just hope he's really comfortable playing his role. He knows exactly what he expects from the role, and I just can't wait to see him show the presence in the lane.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, we have the amateur tournament as well. We're going to bring that bracket up right now, because we're going to be starting off, of course, with NIP versus TCM as our first match of the day, followed by SK Gaming versus the Copenhagen Wolves. And Jason, I know you know a lot of those teams very well. What change are you really looking forward to seeing in action here?
You know, originally it was SK because of the whole new lineup changes with Ocelot, you know, really stepping down, but now it's got to be NIP. Picking up 3 members of Lemon Dogs, having Hercubot come over for SK, and it's the first real tournament. It's the first, I think, time we're actually going to see them play as a team. It's really their chance to prove to everyone that, hey, we deserve to be back in the LCS. And all these 4 teams, you know, TCM and Copenhagen Wolves will actually be playing in the group stages for LCS. And then, of course, NIP and SK get their first look at these teams that they possibly could be playing very soon.
Yeah, because NIP gets first pick or whatever team they want to play against. SK gets second, so that is so incredibly important here. Of course, today we're going to start with NIP versus TCM Gaming, and we're going to take a look at that NIP roster to start it up with, because so much has changed in that lineup. Now, of course, we have in the top lane Zoro0, who is, of course, an ex-Lemon Dogs player. We have Hercubot in the jungle, who's an ex-SK Gaming player. Nukeduck in the mid lane, coming in for Bjergsen. Then Freeze, the only remaining member of the Summer Split, and Mithy on the support role. And so this is the current lineup from NIP, as you see there. Now, only one player remaining from the Summer Split, Freeze. What are your impressions of that lineup, or that new lineup? Are there changes that you think might have been better off not being done, or?
I don't know. I mean, every single player was good in their own right. And I think bringing in new life to the team, we've seen how many times before it's really affected NIP. But for me, the real man to watch, at least in this matchup, is Hercubot. You know, in terms of Nukeduck, when he was playing previously with Lemon Dogs, he always had Dexter there. Always there to really help him out. Always there to kind of give him some kills so he can carry the team. I want to know, can Hercubot do the same thing? And also, will NIP let Hercubot play champions he really enjoys? Because we saw the difference it made in him between the spring and summer split, when he could finally play something he enjoyed, like Lee Sin, where he won 5 out of 6 games, had a 10.4 KDA on him. It's really going to come down to that.
Yeah, and Krepo, I'd like to ask you maybe about the Bjergsen changeup, because Bjergsen was at the core of that team for the entire LCS last year, almost the entire and certainly the summer split, and you've played against them a lot of times with your team. How big of an impact is this going to make?
I mean, as far as I understood, Björksen was one of the main shot callers within that team. So removing him, you remove a central piece of the team. That's why I think the change is pretty smart that they took on Nukeduck, but not only Nukeduck, they bring his former teammates with him. So he'll probably still have that synergy with Zoro at top lane. Mid lane top synergy is pretty good. We know Hirakibot is really good at getting his lanes ahead. Just making them win by getting really good timing ganks off. So that should be a really good core of 3 players. I know of Alfonso, Miffy, the support really well, and he's just really damn good. So I don't think it matters who he's laning with. I just think the roster has a lot of potential, quote CLG. But I think that
you're talking about Miffy, and Miffy has always been someone that we've seen last split as well, that he seems to be someone that makes calls and makes a lot of decisions. And before that, they had the Fisio doing that, who now moved to the manager role. Do you feel it's good that he's characteristically kind of a similar person to the Fisio?
Yeah, I mean, they're both very smart players. We saw the change within Lemon Dogs when he came in for We Will Failure back in the summer split, and it was just completely different. It was like night and day. He's so smart out of the game. He's so smart in the game, and that's a really good asset to have on the team. So, you know, Freeze, who already played with Deficio, is going to find something really comfortable in his lane.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on the other side, they're going to be playing versus TCM Gaming, of course, in our first match of the day. So let's take a look at that TCM roster. So, of course, we're going to have in the top lane, JWoww, in the jungle, Naruterador, in the mid lane, Belgian Beast, on AD carry, Motroko, and Barney D on support, Krepo. 2 Belgians in that lineup. That must make you happy.
Yeah, 1 Belgian last year and 2 Belgians this year, including the host. Maybe four in total now. Like, we're almost overtaking the entire League of Legends scene. I just hope this trend keeps on going.
No, but seriously, Jason, your impressions, who's maybe the player to look out for in that TCM roster?
It's a really scary thing because I called out 1 for NIP, but honestly, to me, there's 3 for TCM because you have to have Nurtador play well. He has to be able to follow Hercubot around and stop him from getting Nukeduck ahead or even in the top lane for Zoro Zero. Also, J.O on the top lane, he's got to be able to go head-to-head against Zoro Zero, who placed 2nd overall, you know, within the summer split of LCS once playoffs were finished. He's got to be able to really do that. And then also, Belgian Beast, he's got a lot on his hands. Nukeduck, when he's actually getting ahead, when he gets a couple of kills, he is so hard to stop, really hard to control. If he can do that, they might have a good chance at winning.
You're talking about the junglers, and it's Hercubot and Naruterador have very different champion pools, at least if we go off of what we've seen in the past. How much do you think that will influence the game?
I'm not really sure. I think it comes down to who can really play the champion they're comfortable with. That's key. I mean, we saw that with Hercubot. We've seen it with Naruterador many times. And then how they can use that champion to their advantage, how they can use it in these team fights, how their synergy really works. Because if we think about it, TCM have been around for a long time together as a team, where NIP, on the other hand, have just come together as a fresh new roster. So synergy might be on TCM's hands.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Krepo, what do you think of this matchup? Who will take it?
The favors obviously for NIP. They have more experience. TCM can throw them a curveball. I mean, they have no real pressure here. They're playing against an opponent that everybody deems better, so they have not too much pressure on them. They've played in a few lands already, so they're used to the stage environment. They won't get too stressed out. I know Belgian Beast can hold his own. I've seen JWoww perform really well in some games. They have a shot, but I'll still give it to NIP.
NIP, Jason?
Even with Matrako playing against his ex-support player Mithy, I'd still have to give it to NIP for pretty much the exact same reasons. They're just easily and clearly the favorites. They have so much skill on their side, but TCM still, they have, you know, they really have nothing against them in terms of they can show everyone out there that we can be in the LCS. We can beat one of the teams who's already been in it twice.
Absolutely, and we know what an underdog can do a lot of the times. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We'll be seeing a lot of you as the show continues.